Hey friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So I tell you guys all the time, get a passport, go see the world, find places that excite you about life. And I wanted to follow up from the last video. I know it was a little bit down last video, but the overall message of the last video was the same though, is that just find places that make sense for you, surround yourself with positive people, and life can be really exciting. You don't have to dwell on the negatives all the time, and sort of why I want to talk about something positive. This was actually, well, the headline's kind of funny. This is a story that really spoke to me, and I want to, hopefully it speaks to you. I want to go over this and share you guys some pictures with you guys. So this is says here, living death was my father's nickname for office work. Now I'm in my 40s and I can see why. And this is coming from Ariel, and it's funny because essentially, she describes how she needed some change in her life and what she do to get that. And like I said, this really spoke to me. I want to go over this and I'll share some thoughts. So this is her life, how she described it, and it was kind of like, during the pandemic when everyone questioned the work-life balance. So she says here, overwork had something to do with it. I'd spent carefree years bouncing around Kyrgyzstan, Lebanon, Sri Lanka, Mexico, India, and Armenia, right? So in her 20s, she's traveling all around. I'm assuming meeting lots of different kinds of people, experiencing new foods, cultures, etc. And she says, and then in my mid 30s, I wandered into a full-time desk job, right? Living death. That's how my philosopher slash guitarist father had nicknamed office work. Me personally, the office stuff has never appealed to me. I just never liked it, but everyone's going to be different. So what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. But ultimately, though, I keep telling you the same thing. You got to find what makes sense and what works for you. So this person says regarding office work, no surprises. Every day felt the same. The role itself, so I guess it says designing photo exhibits and documenting peace initiatives, so not terrible, was often fascinating, and I welcome the reprieve for financial precarity, right? So they give you money, you got security, hey, no problem, right? But sitting under fluorescent lights all day made me feel like a caged panther or maybe a cyborg. I wasn't prepared for corporate culture. And essentially what sort of took her out of the doldrums is she went to this, I guess it's a hotel at the Bay of Algiers. Looks pretty nice there. And she had a chance to take a freelance project there or something. And, when I read through this stuff, it reminded me of the things that I always tell you guys about in my book. And if you don't have a copy, you should pick it up. It's called Positive Angle. And basically, it's a self-help book to help you stay motivated to go after the dreams and the things that make sense and excite you. So for this person, it's the Bay of Algiers, right? She just wanted to change and get out of that living death stuff and get out of that sitting under the fluorescent lights. And I don't want to paint it like, hey, you should never work and never work in an office. It's not necessarily that. It's just that you need to break up the monotony of daily life to add them excitement. It's a real thing, and getting a passport traveling is one of the things that really really helps people, because another the other thing is too is it's also real. You can't necessarily live out of a backpack all of your life. It's not really that practical. Sometimes you got to go back and work, and then you feel refreshed though, and it's okay. And then maybe you do that for 4 months, and you go out and go on another vacation again. We need variety in life. It's funny because it reminds me of if you ever had a dog or a cat and they eat the same food every day, like really, they eat the same food every day, and you're like, huh. You as humans, it'd be hard to do that, and that's why your dog and cat get really, really happy when you give them a snack, because it's like really different than what they normally eat. But that's sort of like how you have to think of yourself is, you don't want to eat the same thing every day. You don't want to be in the same thing every day. You get variety, and it adds some fun and something to look forward to. For example, we do a vlog channel every now and then. We haven't done it for a couple of weeks, but we went to a baseball game the other day and went to the market, and we'll make a video. I'm at my wife's parents' house today. It's a holiday. It's called Chuseok, and essentially it's like Korean Thanksgiving. So I'll film our dinner. It's fun. I don't know what we're eating tomorrow. Probably chicken or something, but it's just fun to share. It's a different environment than what you might find in USA, and it's fun to share these things. But I wanted to share this stuff with you guys. I show this every now and then. For those of you who have never, seen my channel, know much about me, I'm 49, and in fact, I've been all over the place. I worked in film. I was a professor. I teach marketing, communication, business. I also worked in hotel design, essentially, and I also, how can I say, like, now I do YouTube, right? And I also try to learn new things every day and share the stuff with you. But I had a way other life, well before YouTube, way other life, and it's, you know, one thing that's different about often things that you see on YouTube is kids that had only done YouTube, you have a different point of view of stuff, right? You know, from average person who just does YouTube all the time, they just sit in their room and drink Gatorade and play video games, right? That kind of stuff. But you know, I've been a lot of places and took a lot of meetings, met a lot of people, and so like when I share things with you guys, I'm sharing from a perspective of like if there's, you know, a challenge that you want to try or something you want to go for it, right? And when you go to, how can I say, places where you know, say the situation is ideal for you and you feel like you know deserve to work there, or you could be great in that environment, etc., and you go and you meet people that are in those places and you realize, wow, you know, you could totally cut it there, you could totally belong, you could totally succeed, like it becomes motivating, right? um, and one of the things that I you know emphasize with you guys, and I know it's a tricky thing when we talk about the Elon and Tesla stuff, but it's like the more experience you have, you'll be able to identify, okay, I can see that this person's like legit. Or I can see this person's like completely not legit. Like one of the things that I emphasize with you guys is keep your word. If you say you're gonna do something, you do it, right? That's why I was talking about the Elon stuff, is where he doesn't keep his word all the time. And you can't trust people like that. And this is sort of where you want to put yourself in a room with people that have your back, and also to people that keep their word, you keep their word with them, and you start building a collection of friends and people around you. That's essentially that's the positive stuff, right? The you go into sort of the positive upward spiral, opposed to being like a downward spiral, right? The people you surround yourself with like really affect the things you think about, the things you talk about, the motivations that you have, and also to like kind of just things about you think about in general with the world. I know in the last video I speak in like kind of vagaries, because I do that on purpose, because I'll just tell you the truth. If you look at social media and you look at people who are like, you know, negative all the time and they're always blaming someone for something, right? It's always someone else's fault. Because there's some people that think that way. They think, oh, it's never my fault. It's always someone else's fault, right? It's like it's basically perpetual trolling. You know, that's all that you're going to think about. You're going to think about like, how can I blame someone else all the time? And I'm just sharing various pictures with you guys to show you my life. Guys, I really know it's really different than other people's, and it's hard to explain. Like my life, it's hard to explain, because it doesn't make sense to others. You know, for me, I didn't want the same way, like say this person's like, oh my god, it's living death, office work, etc. I didn't want that life. You know, and then I remember this was a long time ago. It was there was a, you know, because there is, you know, we could call it adults or authority figures in your life, or whatever you want to say, just various people say things. And I remember this one time someone asked me, and I was young back then, and it's like, don't you want to be a lawyer? Don't you want to be a lawyer and make lots of money, and you can get a, you know, big house and do that stuff? And it was interesting, because I remember when they were saying that, and it was like that this particular person, and I'll just say that their marriage ended up failing. I can't remember how many years, but ended up failing because that particular person was all about the money and put a bunch of pressure on their spouse to just make a bunch of money so that that person could spend it. And the the reason I'm sharing that story is because of that time, and this is kind of when you're younger, trying to figure out like, you know, what goals do you want to pursue in life, etc. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't just about money, and that's the most important thing. It was about finding a career path and people I wanted to be around, and sort of like things I wanted to add to the world. So some people, and you know, if that's your thing, so be it, right? I'm not gonna hate on you for that. But I'm just saying, for me, and sort of why it wasn't about just money all the time, is because it becomes it, like you need money to. It's just honest. You need money to go places, right? I'm not saying you don't need money in life, but to make that your sole purpose of just accumulation of money to have objects, I guess for me personally, it's about getting experiences. That's why I show you guys like travel. This is To Young. We made some videos out there, and if you can find those on our vlog channel. But it was really fun. Like I want to go back to this place. This place is fantastic. This is like it's one of the better places in Korea to go visit. It's really cool. And they got this cool mountain up there, and it's really fun. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's all To Young. But like, you know, the biggest thing that you can buy with money is not a new Tesla. And I know some people think that way, and a lot of channels teach you that thing. But honestly, what it is, it's freedom. And the last thing that I want, say for example, and for you, is like to use your money in a way that traps you into a life that makes you unhappy. The way I think about money is how can I use it to buy freedom so that I have time to like not stress out all of the time about like stuff that ends up irrelevant. What's relevant in life? And like here, there's a picture of my wife and I. To me, what relevant in my life is being able to spend time with my wife, and we go out to coffee and have fun. And for us, for me, it's fun. And that's why I do YouTube. It's fun for me. I like to talk about stuff that's going on in the news. It's fun. It's fun for me. I enjoy learning about, the economy of what's happening today and what's happening in another country over there, and which company is doing crazy things, which company is not doing crazy things. I find that really enjoyable for me. And hopefully you watch the channel because you find that stuff enjoyable too. And not only enjoyable, like it's real. It can be profitable to know this kind of stuff. But I don't make the end all be all goal of like just accumulating, you know, money all day every day, and that's the only thing I ever think about. No, it's that's a ancillary, thing of life, right? But the ultimate goal, so say in your career, if like if your goal in the career is like, hey, I'm gonna build the coolest building because I want to build a cool building with like lots of plants in it, and I want to make a statement on said building. Just give me an example of the building situation. It's not like I just want to do the building just to sell it to a bunch of people and rent it out as high expensive as possible, right? It's a different thing about that, right? Or for some people, they might be like, hey, someone in the community said before that they were in landscaping. I'll show you more other pictures, but and it's like, hey, if you're in landscaping, maybe the joy of that is you take something that was ugly before, say someone's lawn is awful or whatever, and then you help them make it to be pretty. And this is a picture of Echo Park when I lived in LA, and what was this? I'm sure the North Korea thing. Actually, it's kind of funny with the North Korea thing. I can't remember what I put down. I don't remember what this is, but someone mentioned before. It was like, oh, Chris, Korea is so dangerous, and North Korea, you always have to worry about fear and stuff like that. So the war ended, the Korean War. That was 1953. We're in 2024, so it's like 70 some years, and we haven't had any problems. So I laugh because it's like, yes, there is a quote enemy to the north. Guys, it's been 70 years since the end of the Korean War, and it's I'll let you decide that, but I say here in Korea we don't really stress about that all the time. When I live in USA, and I am showing you a picture of LA because I think like this is Griffith Observatory is really fun there. LA is really cool. I like LA quite a bit, but like when I look back at my time in USA, there's some cities that are really fun, and for me I like LA. I'm showing you pictures of it, and I've said this before on the channel. I think it's one of the better places to live in the USA, and anyone who says otherwise is probably hasn't been there. But really frank, yes, it's got problems, guys. Yes, I really know. I really know. I used to live there. Homelessness is an awful problem in LA, and I hope they solve that kind of stuff. Yes, there's crime, etc. Yeah, yes, all true. It's all true. But it's not like it's like the whole thing is just that. I'm just showing you various scenes around LA. Until you've been there, you don't know. The architecture is really great. The diversity of peoples, the diversities of cultures and foods, right? The beaches are fantastic. But this is a part of life, right? Maybe beaches and fantastic tacos is not for you, right? Maybe it's not for me. I like tacos. Tacos are awesome, and I like seafood. But maybe that's not for you, right? Maybe you want a different kind of life. But that's going back to this person, right? So this person said they like to go to the Bay of Algiers, and that's what sort of rejuvenated the excitement of life for them. I'm just showing you guys my experiences and sort of what I've seen, but it'll be different for you, right? Some people may be like really more sports oriented, and you're like, you know what, Chris, I need to not live in the Bay of Algiers. I need to go visit Switzerland and go ski there, or I need to go to Denver and go ski there, or go up to Vancouver. What's the one? Whistler, yeah, Whistler, and go ski there, right? I'm naming different popular places to ski, but I can't stress this enough, guys. It's just, you know, yes, there's two things. One is have financial security so you're able to do said things, right? So I never preach like just go, crazy and waste all your money on whatever. I always mention the car stuff because to me it's always a waste of money. I think get experiences, get education, have a job to where it gives you the freedom to do these kind of things, but space it out to where you're doing it in a way that you can do it right. that makes sense for you, that's not putting yourself on a limb. So I know I talked about a lot of different topics and stuff. That's what I do on this channel sometimes, but I just think, this, how this person says, living death is just not the way to live. You want to live life in a way that is exciting to you. So I hope this video speaks to someone out there that needs to hear this kind of thing. I need to hear sometimes to even just tell myself, remind myself. And that's something my wife and I, we always say is like, hey, we gotta go do something fun this week, or look forward to do something fun next week, and just keep life fun. This is what I do, and it's fun for me, and hopefully it's fun for you, and I do appreciate you hanging out on the channel. So thanks for your time, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.